Jai Hind everyone. I am Swimpi Pahuja, Assistant Professor, CSC Department, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today I am here to deliver a lecture on a subject named as Computer Networks. The course code for the subject is KCS 603, and here we will start with the basic introduction to the computer network. These are the contents that I will be following. First one will be the introduction to the computer network. What is computer network actually? What are its uses? What are the various communication modes? What are the categories of networks? Then we will follow with the goals of computer network as well as the applications. And finally, we will have a bit introduction about the client server model. So, first one, what is a network? So, network as we say, it is a collection of people or maybe a collection of things which are having a common goal to achieve. And in examples we can have like telephone network, social network, relatives, railways, hospital, network of friends, network of different people who are you can say associated to fulfill a common goal. So, that is what we call a network. So, it means an interconnected set of some objects. So, now proceeding with the combined term, what is computer network? So, computer network here is a collection of so many computers which may be termed as nodes also, and which are connected through some communication lines. And these two computers, they can be connected to a network, and they can communicate with each other by other nodes also, which may work as a switching nodes if they are not directly connected. And some of the nodes in this network, they may not be computers also, they may be some networking device, like they may be switches, they may be routers, they may be hubs in order to which are used to facilitate the communication process. So, computer network here is an interconnection between general purpose programming devices which deals with the data handling task. The computer network consists of so many computers or maybe printers or other equipments which are connected together so that they can communicate with each other. So, it is the infrastructure which allows two or more computers to communicate with each other. So, in a combined term, or if I summarize this, what is computer networks, then I can say that it is an interconnected collection of autonomous computers. Autonomous means independent computers. So, they are able to exchange information, there is no master slave relationship between these computers, that is what we call computer networks. Then what are its uses? So, in uses we have that it can be used to exchange the information between different computers, like we can have one sender and one receiving machine, and they can exchange the information between each of them. So, that is one kind of use of a computer network. Then second one is interconnected small computers in place of large computers. So, instead of one very large computer which is dedicated to perform a particular task, we can have so many small computers which are connected to each other and which are also performing the same task. So, it will just simplify the process, it will just simplify the task of each computer because the work has been divided over here. Then we can have the communication tools, the various tools which are used to communicate, that is again using a computer network, like we can take the example of the simple communication that you people do with your friends by means of various social networking sites and all. So, they are also a part of computer network. Then what are the modes of communication? So, basically we deal with these three modes of communication. First one is this point to point communication, then we have broadcasting, and then we have multicasting. So, point to point means that you are having one sender and then you are having a receiver. So, sender is the entity which is used to send the data, and receiver is the entity which is receiving that data. So, when the data is going from sender to receiver in one mode, so this is point to point communication, that we are having only this point connected to this receiver, there are no multiple connections over here. Then in broadcasting we can have like there is one sender, and this sender is broadcasting the data. It is sending the data to so many systems connected to it. Here in point to point, only two systems are connected by means of one communication link, but here the sender is connected to so many receiving entities, like here receiving entity 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this example I have shown 4 receiving entities. So here the sender and receivers, there are multiple receivers but single sender. The data has been broadcasted to multiple receivers. Multicasting is same as of broadcasting, but the difference here is that here the two-way communication can occur. The sender can send something, receiver is receiving something, but at one time the sender can also receive something. But in multicasting, the sender role will remain as the sender. It will never change. It will also send, sender will be sending to multiple receiving devices, same as in broadcasting, but the difference here is that here the receiver will always be receiver. It will never become sender. Here the role can be exchanged, but here the role will never get exchanged. Why? Because in multicasting the sender is just sending the data and receiver is just receiving the data. It cannot communicate further, it cannot provide any acknowledgement. Like you can have very good example. For multicasting, we have an example of WhatsApp group. Again, if I say broadcasting, you can have same example. Then what is the difference? Difference lies in, like there are groups where you have only one admin person who is responsible for sending the message to everyone, but because there is only one admin, rest of the people cannot reply in this group. Or you can have another example of radio transmission. So radio transmission is one-way communication. Only one person is speaking and we are just listeners, we are just listening. Similarly here in WhatsApp group also, one person admin is sending the data and others are just working as receiving entities. They are just receiving the data, they are not doing anything, they are not having any rights to even acknowledge that. So in this case all are admins, everyone can have the communication. So that is the broadcasting. Then we have what is point to point communication, how the data flows in point to point communication. So we can have two kinds here, we can have dedicated connection also, we can have shared connection also. In case of dedicated connection, that means we have the dedicated communication links established between the various communicating entities. So if the dedicated connection is there, then we can have these three kinds of communication modes that we will discuss in detail in the coming slides. So first one is simplex mode, you can call it simple mode also, and then we have full duplex mode as well as the half duplex mode. And what happens in this, that I will come in the next slides. Then in shared communication, we can make use of the concept called multiplexing, in which many channels can be splitted into you can say combined into one channel, or one channel can be splitted into many channels. That depends on the kind of requirement we have while we are doing the data transmission. So both kind of things, if we have shared connections, we can use this multiplexing also. So here the diagram is showing, like here we have this A, B, C, D, E, they are representing the end stations, or you can say the host systems which are responsible for sending or receiving the data. And here this 1, 2, 3, 4, these are representing the switching nodes. So here the data, like A is sending the data to C. So how it will go? It will go from A to 1, then it will go from 1 to 3, then it will go from 3 to 5, and then it will go from 5 to C. Or the data can have another path also. That depends that what the path your the algorithm, the routing algorithm has found, and based on that we can send the data from A to C. Fine. So here we are having dedicated connections. Now, is it working in simplex mode or half duplex mode or full duplex mode, that you will come to know now. So, what is simplex? Simplex means that there is the communication between the two entities is unidirectional. That means the signal can flow in one directional only. Only sender is responsible for sending the data and receiver is responsible for receiving the data. Opposite is not possible. Fine. So, that is unidirectional communication in the simplex mode. So, what are the advantages as well as disadvantages of this mode? So, advantage of simplex mode is that it utilizes full capacity of the communication channel during data transmission, because there is single dedicated link in this case. It has the least or no data traffic issues, because data is flowing in one directional, because if data is flowing in one direction, there are no issues of traffic. Nobody else is sending the data on same link. So, disadvantages is it is unidirectional in nature. So, there are no interconnection between the devices and there is no mechanism for information to be transmitted back to sender. So, there are no mechanism for acknowledgement. We cannot transmit the information back to sender. So, sender and receiver's roles are fixed in this case. So, that is the biggest disadvantage of simplex mode. Half duplex mode. So, here the communication can be in half duplex mode. The signal can flow one at a time, but it can flow in both directions. Sender can send the data also, fine, and sender can receive this data also. So, the signal can flow in both the directions, but at one time only one. So, very good example of this is the telephone call, the mobile phones on which you people communicate. So, that is a very good example, because at one time one person speaks, the other listens, then the second one speaks and you listen, fine. So, this is an example of half duplex mode. Advantages are, it facilitates the optimum use of communication channel. So, communication channel has been used optimally here. It is a two-way communication that it supports, and this two-way communication it cannot be established simultaneously at same time. So, this is the disadvantage. That is why full duplex mode came into existence. Then delay in transmission, they may occur because one-way transmission can be possible at one time. So, there may be delay in data transmission also. So, to remove these disadvantages, the next mode that came into existence was full duplex mode. So, now what comes under full duplex mode? Here the signal can flow in both the directions simultaneously. So, you can take the example of landline call that we do. So, we can have both the directions that the signal is traveling, and we are able, there are no delays that are introduced in this case. Advantages, the two-way communication can be carried out simultaneously in both the directions, the biggest advantage. It is the fastest mode of communication that is used between the devices. Disadvantages are, the capacity of channel is divided into two parts. So, no dedicated paths are there for data transfer. It has improper channel bandwidth utilization, fine, because there are two separate paths for two communicating devices. So, the channel utilization is improper in this case. Then we have another kind of classification called broadcast network. As I already told, that there is one system which is responsible for sending to multiple devices, fine. So, that is broadcast, as an example of broadcast network. Classification. Now, what are the classification of networks, or how you can categorize the networks? So, there are three things here: LAN, local area network, metropolitan area network, and wide area network. We call them LAN, WAN and MAN. So, LAN is privately owned. You can take the example of the simple computers which are connected in a lab. So, they are connected by means of LAN. They are restricted in size. MAN is of bigger size, it will have excess issues because of cost, and WAN is bit costly and it supports the internet working. So, now what are LANs? So, LANs, these are privately owned networks. It can be within a single building or a campus which is few kilometers in size. So, we cannot have LAN in you can say from one country to another country. So, LAN is within a single building. So they are distinguished by the characteristics like their size, their transmission technology they are using, or topology they are using. So size can be like it is in a building, so that what is how much bigger land we have used. Transmission technology, what transmission medium we are using. Topology, how the systems are connected. Topology is in what manner, in what fashion the systems are connected to each other, like we can have a ring topology in which the systems are connected in the form of ring, or we can have mesh topology in which systems are connected in the form of mesh, like if I make now mesh here, so this is a mesh topology now, fine. Or we can have a bus topology in which the systems are connected like here in the form of a bus and connected to a common communication medium. So not interconnected, but they may be connected like this. So they are this is an example of bus topology. So this is how the systems are connected actually. So it will distinguish, it will provide the characteristics of LAN. So as I already told, it is restricted in size, worst case time is bounded, and it should be known in advance. It will simplify the management of the network. And tradition LAN or newer LANs, they support up to this much capacity, that is 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps or up to 10 gigabyte per second. So this is a diagram for LAN. Like as I said, it may be in a building, so maybe different departments may be interconnected. Here in one department, this is these are two persons who are using the LAN. Here in another department, 4 systems are connected. In another department, here 3 systems are connected. So this is an example of LAN. So this is LAN 1, LAN 2 and LAN 3. Then metropolitan area network, that is within buildings. So we can have this connection by means of fiber optic system. Then wide area network, which is which span large geographic area like country or maybe a continent. It will contain the host which are owned by customers. It will have subnet which is owned and operated by telephone company or maybe the internet service provider. It will carry the messages from various host to host, and it will contain various transmission lines as well as the switching elements. So this you can see that this country may be connected to this country by means of the wide area network. Now what are the goals of computer network? So main goal is resource sharing, like in our labs also we share the printer to multiple systems, can give the command and we can get the printout from any by giving command from any system. Then we can have load sharing also between various systems. It is highly reliable, cost effective, scalable. We can scale, we can connect multiple computers to it. Powerful communication medium is used. Easily it is accessible from anywhere. We can access file or we can access any database. Fine, it is having the search capability using the World Wide Web, remote computing, distributed processing and so many. Applications of network, we can access the remote information from anywhere. We can have person to person communication, like you can have chat which we can use one feature in order to communicate, and interactive entertainment can be there, like we use various kind of channels for the purpose of entertainment over the internet. Then what are the applications? So it can be applied in sales, in e-commerce, financial services, manufacturing, email, then your searchable data, teleconferencing, then voice conferencing, video conferencing and so many. So there are a lot of applications that we have of a computer network. Now what is client server model? So client server model is like we have one server here. Server is the entity who is responsible for providing then access to the data, and here client is an entity who is responsible for you can say requesting the data. So client is one who is requesting the data and server is one who is sending that data, fine. So we can have multiple clients. So in this example the 2 client machines have been shown. This is one client and this is second client. fine. And here the server, there may be one server also, there may be multiple servers also that are connected by means of a network. So here if I take the very small example, let us say this is a Gmail server. So client here, this person sitting on his browser, he or she logins into his browser, she asks for the Gmail page. Now for Gmail page she will send a request, here the request will go via network, it will go to the server, and then the server will reply with this Gmail page to this particular client. Now the next step that we generally follow is the authentication step, in which we need to provide our login name as well as a password in order to authenticate ourselves. So that is a different process, but the main task of the server is to first send the page of that Gmail, the main page, fine. Then when this person provides the authentication information, that is her credentials, then those credentials will again travel to the server. Now server will verify them, authenticate them, and then it will send the corresponding Gmail page of this particular person to its machine. She will do whatever the connection she want to do, then she will close the connection also by means of that logout feature. So that logout which we actually click is actually sending the request to server to close the connection, and then finally the server closes the connection. So that is what we call client server model. So always it happens that server is responsible for sending always over here, and client is responsible for receiving. So there is one PC per user, you have seen in previous diagram, data resides on remote server and which is shared among so many users. Users here are called clients, like you can have employee also that is accessing the company information system. So this can be one example. So inside the client machine, the client process is working, inside the server machine, the server process is working, fine. So client is doing the request, server is just replying to that request. So these are the references which I followed. Thank you.